Really happy to be here. Yes, it's the Christmas season, and even though it's a season of, well, hopefully of food and fun and thanksgiving for God sending His Son, it's life on this side of eternity. People get a lot of breakthroughs, but you're still seeing the underlying suffering that continues to happen in the world. So today I'm dealing with Christmas season as a divorced or separated person. And we know that could be very difficult, especially if it's your first Christmas season as somebody who is newly divorced or separated, and a separation that, if there's no coming back, we're going towards, divorce. And over the years, I've helped many men and women come to terms with the reality of being separated, being divorced, especially in terms of just dealing with their first Christmas since separation or divorce. And some of these people, they have children, they don't have children, right? And it is challenging, but I think it's always important to have a plan, just as I would have spoken about in the last program with dealing with your first Christmas season after the death of a loved one. Is always important when we have experiences like this to go into situations with a plan. Please have a plan. Have a plan, but there's a plan for how you're going to celebrate your birthday, how you're going to celebrate Christmas season, how you're going to celebrate an anniversary, and the person is no longer there. Don't go into these things, even if weekends was a special time. Have a plan for your weekend. Having a plan really helps. Now, when you lose a spouse to death, emotional pain is expected, and there is a defined kind of grieving process that could make it, understandable, to others, to yourself, to others. However, when people go through divorce, many people find themselves without any direction of how to proceed with respect to the loss. And sometimes even people who we felt may have been there for us are not there, because many people feel uncomfortable talking about this and dealing with this. So while for some, divorce is relieving, it's like a relieving end to a painful relationship. For others, the demise of the relationship and the divorce itself can cause deep psychological distress. For some, the common feelings of anger, resentment, confusion, fear, shame, anxiety, right, during and after divorce can take up residency in their emotional makeup and wreak havoc on their mental and physical health. And this can happen even if you're the one who chose to leave. And, sometimes we think, well, if this person is the one who chose to leave, then it should not impact them like this. But at the end of the day, we choose to leave because the relationship was extremely painful and there were grounds for leaving, right? The emotional and psychological effects of divorce on men. From statistics, women are more commonly the initiators of divorce, and some men are shocked to be served divorce papers, even when wives have shared how they have been feeling with husbands for a long time. They've been talking and sharing, right? The conversation before the whole divorce process can be heartbreaking and still be a surprise to the husband. In some situations, though it is still painful, the initiating partner has had time to process their emotions, and the surprise partner does not. So you find the person, there's an emotional disconnect when somebody, decides, okay, I can no longer do this. This pain is too much. The abuse is too much. The emotional torment is too much. The disrespect and the shame and all these things are too much, and they have disconnected emotionally. And as a result, when they make that initiation to do this, you may find that they are not acting in a particular way of distress. And it's because there's the emotional disconnect that has happened a long time ago before the physical disconnect has come, right? So certain emotional and psychological effects seen in men after divorce. Certain things are guilt, which is understandable, anxiety, stress, depression, insomnia, substance abuse, and an identity crisis. Divorce does not have the same effect on everyone, and most people are able to heal. Thankfully, most people are able to heal, and most people do heal. A study on divorce and depression found that for most people, certain symptoms are temporary. The major concern here when we're talking about depression and divorce is if people suffered with depression even before this. You want to keep your eye open and out on these situations. Most men struggle more in handling the emotional aspects of divorce. Men are less likely to seek social support from friends or family than women, and women also tend to rely on their social support for advice more than men do. And I mean, I call it the privilege of having men as a part of the divorcee support groups that I've had in the past. And it's really, it is always enlightening and interesting to hear about their journey and how divorce impacts husbands. Emotional and psychological effects of divorce on women. And we know women are more likely to reach out to their support systems of support. And this is considered to be invaluable in overcoming the emotional effects of divorce. Women experience a lot of times greater problems when it comes to the identity, their identity or their self-concept more than men after divorce. And I think it's because in marriage, women focus a lot of their energy on being a good wife. And after divorce, they may, struggle with that aspect for a while. They were failure. Now I'm no longer a wife. What am I? What parts of my identity I need to focus on? The major effects of divorce on women are moderate to severe anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, sleep disorders, high amounts of stress, and emotional and behavioral problems. So I'm not here to so much talk about this, but just want people to have a sense. I think one of the biggest things that I've seen for women is also how it affects them with respect to their income, right? With divorce and separation, women are actually at a greater risk for things like poverty and struggling financially. And I think it's important in our church communities to be able to see this. So while we want to help support, spiritually, emotionally, there also is a lot of times a need for financial support where, especially for women, where there is divorce. Now, it is important to say that relief is also one of the benefits people experience after divorce. If a marriage has been abusive, tough, rough, painful for a long time, it can be a big relief to both parties, even if they would not agree to it. So divorce is painful, whether you are the one who initiated it or not, and it can sometimes be a lonely and long road to healing. Because this season, so I'm talking about, for you all now tuning in, I'm talking about dealing with divorce and separation during the Christmas season, especially if this is something that has just happened. Because this season is about family togetherness. One's first Christmas as a divorced or separated person can be difficult to navigate. Many Christians say that they never thought that divorce would be an issue in their lives. And this is Jason from walkingthechristianlife.com. He says, I married older, thought I was mature, had a good relationship with God, and yet after 4 years of marriage, I was among the 50% of marriages that ended in divorce. There are certain things in life that make a person reevaluate their lives, and in my book, divorce is one of them. Jason shared that coping with divorce as a Christian was quite difficult. He was angry at his ex-spouse, the world, God, and himself. He said, I don't think I prayed for forgiveness or pleaded for a miracle as much in my life as I did then. And we can understand that. You could plead, God, please, I'll do anything. Let this relationship come back. Let my wife, let my husband turn around, do something. God, the court date is not up yet. Probably something can happen before that court date. Even on the day of the court date, something can happen. And people really plead and cry out, right? He said it started out as a dark and hopeless time. But one day, I realized that God was touching my heart in a way that I never experienced before. Even though my marriage was over, my relationship with God entered a new dimension I never knew existed. I found hope, healing, love, forgiveness, relationship, understanding, and the will to experience God's daily blessings. And that's one thing, God never leaves us, God said he will never leave us nor forsake us, even in these difficult times. And I say to people, even in this Christmas season, you see so many people celebrating, rejoicing, and all these things. But you know why Jesus came? Jesus came for the brokenhearted. That baby that people celebrate in a manger, who we know is now King of Kings and Lord of Lords, he came as a light in the darkness, in the heartbreak, to the downtrodden, to those who feel hopeless. That is why he came. So this is a good time to know that, thank you, God, because you came for me. You came to heal my broken heart, right? And this is Jason speaking. I'm not going to tell you that coping with divorce is easy. In fact, I pray I never have to go through it again. However, if you are going through a divorce, I encourage you to not give up, to keep looking up and know in time you will feel normal. And as I would say you would get that new normal and you will be happy again. And I say this not because I have been divorced, but because I have worked with persons, right? Even now, I have clients who Christmas is coming and this is their first time dealing with separation or divorce, and they have their appointments in, right, to make sure that they continue to heal and to be on track in their own healing journey. Presently, things are tough all around for many of us with what is happening in the economy, the crime situation, right, and so many losses, especially due to cancer and other health issues. Divorce is also another very painful loss. So for the newly divorced or separate person, with every Christmas song or Christmas ad, you suddenly find yourself rolling your eyes and then a second later crying. You are shocked that you can vacillate between being cynical and sentimental in a second. You can feel like your emotions are pushing and shoving and rushing around, sometimes hitting each other, like I don't like going in crowded stores and malls and stuff like that. But, you could feel like that, like things bouncing, your emotions just beating, you're bouncing all over, like a mall on possibly a Christmas Eve, right? Oh gosh, you might shout at yourself. I thought you were getting through all of this, and this is part of the highs and lows of dealing with that loss. Know that it's normal to feel things more intensely at holidays like Christmas. The infinite supply of chocolate and, we have our Danish cookies and Christmas songs and Christmas movies only help to bring back a lifetime of memories, both good and bad, that can be tough. While emotions are often unpredictable and we cannot help what we feel in the moment, here are some thoughts to consider that can make the holidays a little less painful and hopefully even a bit enjoyable. Right? So we're looking at some things that I want you to consider as a newly divorced or separated person, Also, those of you all who are not, listen, because you may be able to encourage and help someone or share this program with someone who you know is in this situation. Now, some of these steps were taken from the following sites: womansdivorce.com and aboutrelationships.com. And of course, I would have added my $25, not 2 cents anymore. 1, accept that no matter what you do, you cannot make up for the loss. Trying to keep things exactly the same only emphasizes that nothing is the same. So no matter what you do, you can't make up for the loss. So don't try to make up for the loss. Number 2, let go of traditions that no longer work for you. This is an opportunity to reinvent your holidays. Keep the traditions that you enjoy and get rid of the ones that you do not. No one expects you to be at your best during this time because they know you're going through something very painful. So you can probably pull it off without anyone getting offended. And please, please do not be kind to persons who have lost loved ones, who are going through a divorce or separation this year, and they're now into the holidays. Don't expect them to just act like all is normal and all is well, and to just go through things as we've done all the years before. Number 3, stick to your regular routine as closely as possible. And when we go through losses like this, it's good for us to develop a routine. So you sleep, you exercise, try and eat as healthy as possible. And of course, if you're in some kind of counseling, try not to miss your appointments. Number 4, do not use money, alcohol, food, or sex to deal with the pain and the sadness. When we go through losses, you feel that pain, and most of us want to numb the pain, and we can do some very destructive things in numbing that pain that could be difficult to untangle later and could have other consequences. This is easier than we realize to do this. The deep sense of emptiness and loneliness that one can feel after divorce can leave you vulnerable to getting into an unhealthy relationship, even a sexual one. You could comfort eat, you could buy things that you do not need, and even turn to alcohol to try to relax and sleep. And yes, I am speaking also to followers of Jesus who are real, normal human beings, right? So these things can happen to even wonderful, spirit-filled followers of Jesus. Number 5, do not be afraid to do something different. Go away or stay home, but take a risk to use the holiday to try something different. You know, I know of clients who've planned beforehand to spend Christmas with relatives abroad, or to go to a hotel or a guest house for the Christmas holidays. And all of them said that it really helped, right? And those who had children and who went with children said that the children really enjoyed it. So sometimes, you know what? Plan ahead. I'm not even going to be in the country. I'm going by relatives. I'm going by friends who want to be there and support me. Something totally different. Number 6, keep mindful to avoid unrealistic expectations. So please keep in mind avoiding unrealistic expectations. Expectations are often the fuel that feeds the letdown feeling. Instead of focusing on what is not, focus on what is and what can be. Remember that happiness is based on happenings. So focus what is on your control. Don't focus on what you can't make happen. Focus on what you can make happen, right? So have realistic expectations. These are things I can do, and those are the things I am going to do. Stop expecting people to do this and do that and show up in these ways. No. Do not make New Year's resolutions. Don't make New Year's resolutions. We hardly ever keep them, right? Right? Then we feel like failures and beat ourselves up over it. Instead, ask yourself, what have I learned this year about myself and about life? Then, if you feel a little bit ambitious, if you feel a little bit up to it, focus on how you can use that information to enhance the coming year. Number 8, have the courage to reach out to family members and friends. It is okay. So this is very important. Reach out to people. Do not isolate. Isolating is what we would prefer to do, because a lot of times you feel so exposed. You feel so like something is wrong with me. That's why this is happening. People are looking at me and laughing at me, or you just don't want to be the person who making everybody down because you're not up to all the laughing and the talking. But no, please have the courage to reach out to family members and friends. It is okay to let people know that you would like to spend time with them since this is your first holiday alone. That is okay. And if people are your family and your friends and they truly love you as family and friends, they would have no issue with it. They would actually be happy that you asked and probably even say, girl, boy, we were thinking about asking you, or we didn't know how you would take it or how you would feel about it, right? Or even if you're up to it, invite them over to your house to host a little celebration, right? Now, if neither is possible, make yourself available to those who may be alone for the holidays, right? Of course, giving always helps. Giving is one of the best ways of diminishing the lonely feeling. Just being able to put a smile on somebody else's face, right? There are always persons and families that you can help. Well, all year long, of course, but especially at this time of the year. So have the courage to reach out to friends and family members and not up to spending Christmas alone. Reach out to somebody. Reach out. And let us be, even in our church communities, be sensitive to this reality, please. Friends who supported you through your divorce, who know what you have been through, can also get you through the holiday season. If being alone is more than you can handle, reach out to people who are interested in helping you get the most out of the holiday. And who better than close friends who were there? They know the story, they know the backstory, they know you, they've cried with you, they've prayed with you, they've laughed with you, they get vexed with you, they told some anger with you and then ask for forgiveness, right? They're there. And they will not expect too much from you because they understand the situation that you're in. Number 10, if you choose to be alone, remember that it is okay to have a good holiday. You can choose to be alone. It's okay to have a good holiday, right? It's okay to have a good holiday experience. If you're not in the mood to be around relatives or co-workers, friends, family, make a different choice. But be kind to yourselves, be kind to your nerves. So you could choose to be alone, and that's okay. Nothing is wrong with that. If your daily life is frantic and chaotic, maybe what you need is some alone time, right? Divorce in itself is stressful, right? It's stressful. And normally you have a busy career, if you have children, some me time may be exactly what you need to have a good Christmas season. So, buy some of your favorite food, your favorite drinks. If you have money, get a massage, get a manicure or pedicure, right? If you can afford it, buy some little gift for yourself. Buy something for yourself, even if it is small, but take some downtime. Nothing is wrong with that. That could be another way. It's just me time, watching your Hallmark Christmas movies if you're that kind of person. Right? Well, those of you all who, my friends on Facebook, know that's not me. Right? Yeah, put on your Hallmark movies or whatever. your action stuff, and take a trip. As I said before, we could do something totally different. We could take a trip, to somewhere else. I mean, those of us who live in Trinidad, we could visit our lovely sister Isle of Tobago, go away by some relatives and friends who are supportive and want you to visit for the holidays. If you can't afford, go to some kind of all-inclusive venue. You don't have to cook, you don't have to do anything. Yeah, something different. If you are a parent, now is a good time to start a new tradition with your children and watch it lift your spirits. Right? So, your parent. Someone shared that a woman she knows started a tradition of reading a special Christmas story each night to her children. The children loved it and looked forward to a new story every evening. It was such a success, she compiled the best Christmas stories ever told, and had it published. Now, I don't know who this person is, and I don't know that book, right? Perhaps you and your children could do something similar, or possibly you could gather and make ornaments that signify the beginning of a new life. If the children are old enough, ask them for their ideas for making the season a little brighter. And a lot of times you'll be surprised by the things children can come up with and how creative children can be. Now, whatever you decide, use this opportunity to try on new ways of spending the holidays in a more satisfying way. You have some control over how you spend your days, and this includes holidays. What do you want to do with this day? You can ask yourself that question. What do you want to do with this day? If your children are older, discuss new ideas and options with them, keeping in mind that while their input is valuable, you are the parent, and that ultimately you will choose what is healthy and right for all of you all. But sometimes it's good, this is your first Christmas season after a divorce or separation, and get the children involved. What would you all like to do? What would you all like to do differently? And you'll be surprised with some of the things that the children would come up with that could really help to make the holiday satisfying. Number 15, do not wait until the last minute to set up the holiday visitation schedule with your ex. And I know most people would have done this already. So we know where the children would be. Set them up in stone early. Know when, where, and who your children will be with for the Christmas. If they are not going to be with you, put that stress aside. Get it taken care of, let go of it, right? So from long before, we need to know, children with me or they're not with me. If they're with me, okay, this is what we're doing. If they're not with me, this is what I would be doing. One divorced woman with children wrote, I spent Christmas Eve and Christmas Day alone one year. I was not looking forward to it, and I could not imagine Christmas without my children. But now that I look back, I realize, although alone, I turned out to be pretty good company. Being alone does not mean you cannot decorate if you like. You do not have to go all out, but bringing out reminders of the fact that it is a time to be thankful is an excellent way to elevate a bad mood. She said she purchased scented candles and holiday scents drifted through the house. She baked some cookies, she took a bath, watched some movies from her bed, right? She was in Trinidad, some punch of creme, on her nightstand there. She said, I miss my children, but I took the opportunity to give myself the gift of relaxation and pampering instead of going over the fact that I was alone and not doing exactly what I wanted to do. She said, I found that for me, divorce, stress, and negative feelings during the holidays can be difficult, but they do not have to be debilitating. For all of us, making time to relax and to do the things we find soothing and enjoyable is essential to keeping a balance. So if you're spending the holiday season or those days that we really look forward to, things like Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, Boxing Day, Old Year's Night, New Year's Day, without the children, know that have a plan and it can be good. Number 17, remind yourself that despite how you feel, God cares about you and He is with you. Thank Him for the little things and the big things He did to keep you going this year. Number 18, keep your perspective. A year from now, you will look back on this holiday season and you will be amazed as how far you have come. And number 19, bear in mind that the holidays last for a short while, so put them in proper perspective. All right. So Tiffany, what I would like is if we could open up the lines and if people can share if this has been their experience of just dealing with a divorce or separation and having to deal with the Christmas season, if they can share their experiences. But what I'm going to do as we wait, I'm just going to go through the 19 things that I would have shared. Right. Let me see if I can get all of them. Number 1, accept that. And if a call comes in, you can stop me. Yeah. All right. Accept that no matter what you do, you cannot make up for the loss. So don't try to keep things the same. Number 2, let go of traditions that no longer work for you, right? It's an opportunity to reinvent the holiday. So get rid of things that don't work for you anymore. 3, stick to your regular routines as closely as possible. Routine really helps us when we are going through something like grief, because it adds some kind of structure. It also gives things to look forward to. And one of the things I say to people, you see, exercise. Exercise is very important when dealing with stresses like divorce and the death of a loved one. Number 4, do not use money, alcohol, food, or sex to deal with pain and sadness. And especially with jumping into another relationship with someone having just come out of a divorce. It's very tempting because you want to feel, like something is, you want the affirmation that I'm okay, I'm enough, I'm not just discarded. So it's very easy to jump into something, but please, you need to take time to heal.
Okay.
Sorry?
We lost you for a bit. So can you repeat that one?
Okay, I did see the screens froze, yeah, but I wasn't sure if it would end. Yes. So what I'm saying, number 4, don't use money, alcohol, food, or sex to deal with the pain or the sadness. And this is very important because with divorce, you can feel like you're not enough. You can feel rejected and you want that validation. It's very easy, somebody giving attention, somebody giving some kind of current for you to decide to get into a relationship. Right? But really coming out of something like a divorce, you really need to spend time to heal. Number 5, do not be afraid to do something different, saying that over and over in many different ways. Number 6, be mindful to avoid unrealistic expectations. Even in terms of thinking that, okay, my ex-partner should remember to, give a gift or to call or they will say Merry Christmas. Forget those things. Look at what is under your control, what you have control over, how you could bring happiness to your life and take control of those things. I didn't say this, but you see things like going on social media and looking at what the other person doing and what other people posting. I would say stay away from it and stay away from social media, right? Social media could be very, very depressing when you're going through a situation like a divorce, especially when sometimes people even put up things like status for you to see. Because I didn't even know I could put up a status for only specific people to see. Please don't get pulled into those things, right? Do not make New Year's resolutions. Try and more reflect on what have I learned and how I can put that into, the new year that is coming, have the courage to reach out to family members and friends. Don't isolate. Reach out. Let them ask for help, where you need it. Friends who supported you through your divorce, who know what you have been through, can also help you to get through the holiday seasons. Of course, reaching out to them. If you choose to be alone, remember that it's okay to have a good holiday experience. Nothing is wrong if you choose to be alone. Don't worry about what your ex is doing, please. Right? Don't. I think I missed out this one. Number 11. Do not worry about what your ex is doing. Obsessing over what he or she might be doing will get in the way of you having a good holiday experience. Don't go searching up for them on social media. Don't unblock so I could send some message and then block them back so they can't respond, or put up some special status that only they could see. Don't do those things to yourself. If your daily life is frantic and chaotic, maybe what you need is some alone times. If you decide to be alone, nothing is wrong with that. Number 13, take a trip. Take a trip. Leave. If you can afford, take a trip. Right? If you are a parent, now is a good time to start a new tradition with your children and watch it lift their spirits. Number 14, of course, you have children, do not wait until last minute to set up the holiday visitation schedule with your ex. Those things actually should have been done already. And I think most people would have had those things in place already. If you haven't, please set that up, right? Remind yourself that despite how you feel, God cares about you and he is with you. Keep your perspective, right? This too shall pass. You will look back and realize, wow, I never thought I would have made it, but I did by God's grace. So keep your perspective. You are getting stronger. And number 19, bear in mind the holidays last for a short while. So put that into perspective. Just now, all this will be over. Okay, so that's it. If we have any calls or comments coming in, but we know this is a difficult time, please, as church communities, let's keep that in mind. Try to see how we could support persons going through divorce, going through separation, right? On this side of eternity, these things are real and they do happen. And many divorced persons say in church communities, they could feel like the excluded one or the forgotten one. People call up to pray. Let's pray for the married couples. Okay, let's pray for the singles and the singles to be married. No, every single person is not going to be married. But yeah, right? Let's pray for the children. Let's pray for the mothers and the fathers. And that's it. What about persons, right? They're not mothers, they're not fathers. They don't even know if they identify as single because they're still grieving about being divorced, right? So let us please try to remember and see how we can be a source of support and encouragement and healing for persons going through this at this season.
But let me leave her WhatsApp number. It's 329-738-34. Those of you interested in reaching out to Petreece, send our WhatsApp only at 329-7383. So Petreece, once again, thank you. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
Another very informative session today.
Thank you. I'm going to stand somewhere and be a Christmas decoration, probably on some corner.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
I'll see you in studio. I'll see you in studio for the new year.
That could happen once.
All right.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, Petreece. Well, have a blessed one today. All right. God
Thank
bless
you.
you. And thank you so very much once again.
Okay.
Have a great one. Bye-bye.